Have you been unleashed?
Unleashed.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Horizon Advisors Unleashed podcast. This is Andrew Henricks back again. As always, I'm always here. Your host, joined here with my partner, Alex Dinzer. What's going on, Alex?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
Welcome to Plymouth.
Yeah, thank you.
How's it feel?
It's beautiful. It's sitting here in the new studio. I mean, looks nice.
Yeah, we're recording this podcast in our studio for the first time with video. We've done some recordings down here before, but just the podcast, not the video. So it's exciting. I know we've done a lot of work in here to make this happen. Big thank you to Ryan, who's not on our podcast today. He's done a lot of work on this too.
A lot of work. So thanks, man.
But it's exciting. Sorry you have to see our faces now. But we're trying to be, more inclusive and be more engaged with this. I think that it's going to be a positive thing for everybody to see, because I think seeing how we feel about the topics that we're talking about, I mean, we're passionate about a lot of these things. I think it feels more inclusive and, allows us to show really how we feel about this stuff.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about a lot of different things and we go a lot of different areas. And I talk about passion, and that's going to be a lot of the topic today for sure. But we wanted to focus on health, really. There's a lot of health that we can go. You might think we might be talking about financial health. Don't really think that's going to be a huge topic for today. It might be some of it. But it's going to be more along the lines of personal health, right? That can be physical. It could be mental, emotional, maybe even social, right? There's a lot of ways you can judge the health of yourself, of your family, your business. And we wanted to talk a little about that today again, because there's a lot of different ways that you can judge or maybe analyze or measure your health, but also improve it. And I think with a lot of what's been going on over the last couple of years, it might be a good topic to maybe focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. I see it being super important, especially just, and you run a lot of meetings too, but I mean, we're constantly engaged with our clients, both their physical and their mental health as we meet with them and they tell us about their struggles or what they're going through, whether it's not even just financially, right?
No. Actually, I think a lot of the time it isn't financial at all.
Yeah.
There might be a component of it, right? But for the most part, I think it's more on maybe the emotional side or the personal side of things.
Or their relationship with their spouse or their kids or, whatever is going on in their life. It's, everyone carries some type of weight.
Relationships is a big part of it. I think that's more like, if we segue that into the social piece, which we'll kind of talk about a little bit later. But I wanted to start with physical health, because I know that's something obviously you and I are both very passionate about. And there's, again, a lot of ways you can go there. But, one form of it, when you look at physical health, right, it's maybe working out, right? That's maybe a very easy one just to pinpoint right away. Again, a lot of what's been going on recently, we went through a phase of staying at home, and maybe that was more difficult to work out or be improving your physical health in those areas. We went through that cycle, but now we're back, and again, I think that's a huge piece of really defining your physical health, because if you don't work out and you're sitting and doing nothing, that can be detrimental.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not improving maybe the way you eat, because being active is very important for our bodies. So why don't you walk me through a little bit of what you do? I know you're very disciplined. You're a military guy. Mm-hmm. So your physical health is very important to you. It is, believe me, I'm telling you. So what do you do? What's your routine?
I would say that, most people would say I'm like a psycho probably about it, because it's what I do the very first thing when I wake up. I mean, I'm so routine in everything that I do. Just a very routine person, but I literally wake up out of bed. I make my bed. I open my blinds every single day. I get dressed. I go down. Well, then I got to get my kids up, but then I'm always working around a lot of things going on. So I'll usually get the kids breakfast. I'll go downstairs. I'll hit the treadmill or I'll hit the Peloton. I'll get my cardio in, and then I'll come back up, finish getting the kids ready for school, take the kids to school, drop them off, and then on the way home, as long as I don't have a meeting right away, I'll hit the gym, and then I'll do weights. So I'll train just something, one body part. I'm not trying to become Mr. Olympia or anything, but I'm trying to stay strong. I'm trying to stay healthy, and I'll spend 30 minutes at the gym. I've also been mixing in some like red light therapy because Planet Fitness has this thing called the Total Body, and it's almost like a tanning booth, but it's red light. And I couldn't tell you all the health benefits of it, but there are a lot for like your skin and having more elasticity in your skin and really just having also impacts like on even like your eyesight and things like that.
I mean, what do you think you just went through again your like morning routine. Obviously, big piece of it is going to the gym and working out. I mean, how do you think that impacts you on your day? I mean, like let me phrase it a different way. If you don't get that, right?
Yeah.
A day that you don't get to do that, how does that affect you?
It affects me immensely, but I'll get it in so at some point in time. So if I have to get up earlier to get something in, I will. I mean, because for me, doing something very hard at the very beginning of my day sets me up for the rest of the day.
Okay.
Right? I mean, if I accomplish something and I do something that's very difficult, the rest of the day becomes easy. No matter if I have 5 meetings or 10 meetings, I mean, I can handle it because I've gotten that hard workout and I've gotten a sweat in, and I feel accomplished as a result. But I mean, me as a person, I always feel like I have to do something physical in order to feel like I've done something. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I will say I have feel that piece of it too. I mean, if I miss a day or for whatever reason something happens and I can't get the workout in, it's almost like a stress almost.
Like it's almost like a weight on your shoulders.
Yeah, because you can feel it.
Yeah.
Just as much as when you're working out and feeling good, you can feel it when you're not working out and it feels maybe bad.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel the difference in your body because you do feel accomplished. I mean, if you push yourself to the limit, your body feels that, and you feel good after. You might not feel good in the moment, right? But it's the no pain, no gain type of thing. Yeah, I mean, I would say for physical health, again, and not everyone has to lift weights or do cardio. I mean, my favorite thing is running.
Yeah.
Big into the cardio, the running. A lot of people, when I talk about that, they, how can you run? I mean, I even have professional athletes, that we've spoken to, that I've spoken to, even people that didn't make it professional, but maybe played in college.
Sure.
And they hate running.
Yeah.
Hate it. And I played a lot of sports. I did not play at that level, but I played a lot of sports.
Yeah.
I didn't like running at that time either, because it maybe was more of the part of the practice, and coach made you do it, or you were getting punished for practice or whatever it was. So maybe you didn't like it, but and I look at the way that they work out. Right, you look at a professional athlete, and they might be look like they're way more in shape. Maybe they are way more in shape than me, but when you look at the specific category of running, I might be a lot better at running than they are. I can run faster, longer, not get tired, right? But they can also lift way more than me, maybe have a lot more strength, right? Different things. Maybe they're quicker off the jump, agility. The reason why I bring all that up is for working out, it's not necessarily that you have to do all those things or be the best at one of those categories. It's really just whatever is enjoyable to you that can at least make you active.
Yeah.
It can be walking the dog, right? It can be going outside and just doing that, right? It could be, it could be standing at your desk, right? And when you're working, like
opposed to sitting all day.
Correct, right?
And you mentioned, the physical aspect of it, but honestly, like for me, it's more mental than anything. I mean, it gives me clarity. It sets me up for my day mentally. I think more than anything, puts me in a good mood. It gets your endorphins going. I mean, all of those things are super positive for your mental well-being.
Yeah, I think again that's a good piece to go into really the next one, which is the big one, right?
Sure.
Which is the mental health aspect of it. Obviously, the physical piece that we just talked about has a lot to do, I think, with the mental as well. Like Alex just mentioned, the working out, physical health actually helps him mentally too. But again, mental health is a big piece of a lot of the topics today. We have a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things in our face,
Constantly.
all the time. And that can be weighing, on you mentally.
It can be draining if you let it get
Affect
to you.
you.
Yeah,
Yep.
or affect
And it can,
you.
and you can't avoid it. It's never going to not happen.
No.
But there are things I think that you can do again to improve that or help with that, as long as you understand it and address it. One thing I can say with relating to all the things that we're talking about is action, doing something about it. It is hard to try to support or help somebody that refuses to address the problem
Sure.
or admit the problem.
Yeah.
That's just the honest truth. So that's the first piece of it. And then how can we improve it, right? It's just like we go through the process of everything else we do in our life, analyzing a situation, okay, address it, right? Look at alternatives, look at how can we fix it, right? And then we pick a route and see if it works. And if it doesn't, maybe we go back to square one and try something else, but at least doing something.
The bottom line is putting in at least some type of effort.
Yep.
To see what's going to be the best path for you, I think.
And everyone has those different things, right? I mean, I'll give an example. Over the last, couple years, really a year and a half, I've been studying for my CFP, which is the Certified Financial Planner designation in our industry. But before that, I was studying for another designation. And before that, I had my master's. And before that, I was an undergrad, right? So that school has been there really for as long as I can remember. Yeah. Still, I'm not out of that. And you're always still learning. But the reason I bring that up is because to me, mentally, that's something that is always on my mind, at the end of the day or on a day that's super busy. Did I get enough study? And it's always in the back of your mind. That might not be for you. You might have other things that are weighing on you in the back of your mind. It might be relationship stress. It might be kids. It might be other friends. It could be, other things that are weighing on you. But at the end of the day, again, if you can, not that you have to isolate them, but if you identify those, and see how you can adjust maybe your schedule or your life, and sacrifice some areas to help you remove some of that weight and get things done. That's one of the things. I had to completely change my schedule for all the things I just mentioned. And I did have to sacrifice some things that did give me joy.
Sure.
Which maybe would have hurt mental health, right? But in response to that, it removed that weight, that stress.
Yeah.
So it actually improved.
Yeah.
And I think that starting with that and identifying it, like we've talked about on this podcast so many times, is really a huge piece of improving your mental health.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times, my first meeting of the day isn't starting until 10 o'clock because I need that much time in the morning with everything I'm doing, taking the kids to school, getting them ready, in order for me to get my workout in. And for me, like, I don't feel guilty about that because for me, I'm working from the minute I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
At 6 a.m., I'm working, and I'm working on myself for a good portion of that.
Sure.
Right. And if you're not taking care of yourself first, then you're not going to be able to take care of anybody else around you.
I agree.
You have to be in a good state of mind, a good frame of mind in order to help others. The same thing like, on an airplane, when the airplane's going down, they say don't put the mask on the person next to you, put it on yourself first. It's a similar concept, but most people do not do that. There's a lot of people out there that are just like super giving people, and they're always giving and doing for everybody else and doing nothing for themselves.
Which is great, of course, but I get what you're saying, and I agree.
Yeah, but it's not, because
self-care
probably hurting them, ultimately in the long run.
Yeah, I think there's definitely been an emphasis on really concerning about what everybody else is doing, and that does have to do with what you just said about also giving to other people other than yourself. Starting with self-care, like you said, is extremely important for your mental health. Being able to look at what makes you happy and somehow include an aspect. You're never going to be able to get it fully, but include an aspect of that in your daily life.
Sure.
With work, with family, with friends, relationships, etc., whatever it is. And again, I think all of this has to do with it. Some people, that item is like working out, like we just talked about. It's other things. It might be being creative. It might be volunteering. It might be spending time with friends or being social. It doesn't have to be physical.
No, it does not at all.
But there's a lot of things that can do that. I think isolating yourself
is the worst thing.
Which is really the last piece of the health we wanted to talk about today.
It's also the easiest thing to do.
It is, especially now.
Yeah.
Right? That's why, I mentioned that earlier. I think it's even easier now with all the things that we have, everything, all the technology,
the comforts of your
remote
home,
work, is a normal thing, right? All these different things, right? You're not getting that social piece, which again is, I think, the last piece of it, which has to do with emotional, mental health. But I really think of it as almost like a social health. I don't even know if that's
I think
a word
that's
or a
for
theme.
Sure. Yeah.
But I am a big believer in that. And again, I know we've talked about this before, but being social in some aspect. I'm not talking about you have to go out to the bar and have drinks with people. That's not your thing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just having some sort of social interaction with people.
Yeah.
Not just your dog or your cat or or people online or whatever.
I'll give you an example.
Real physical people.
I'll give you an example. Our team is pretty big and we have multiple offices. Not everyone's always in the office at the same time together, but on Tuesday when we were all together for our investment committee meeting, I was so happy just being with the team.
Yeah, with everybody.
And collaborating. And
feels good.
It was a great meeting. We got a lot accomplished. We did some camaraderie, some bonding. All that stuff is incredible. I also went out to San Diego a week ago for a conference, which I've not been to one in a while because I've just not been going because I've been busy with the kids and it's hard to take the time. But I made the time. I went, and I'm so glad I did. And did I learn a ton out there? No, but did I get to get away and just get away from the everyday grind and also collaborate with other professionals in the business?
Yeah.
Yes. And that was immensely helpful for everything, for my mental state, for everything.
I want to give an example of this, I guess, how I feel about this social interaction. We look at even like TV shows, all these popular TV shows that have been around for a long time. I'll just use like Friends, for example, right? Jennifer Aniston, and everybody in there. Very popular show. Still runs to this day, super popular. Everyone watches it, streams it, Netflix, everything. And you really think about why is that show so popular? Why does it feel so... why are people so connected to it? And it's not that I'm necessarily a huge fan of the show or anything like that. It's just that I know my fiance is, I know my sister is, my other friends are. And when I've seen episodes, I've enjoyed it. Why? And I look at them like, it's because they're friends. There's social interaction. They're always doing something. It feels like there's an inclusion to that friend group. That's that kind of camaraderie, right, that you're talking about. People are attracted to that. And people are also, it makes them feel good, right? So that piece of it can also relate to some of those other topics we talked about before by having that interaction.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be, the friends in terms of being always with your friend group, but that social interaction, that piece of it where you're always doing something, I think has a huge piece to play. And the way that I relate to it, one of the ways that I still do it with all those busy things that I just talked about, right? I have a lot of stuff going on, behind the scenes outside of work that are taking up a lot of time, right? I'm planning a wedding right now. Like I mentioned, studying for, a designation that takes a long time to study. I try to still include, hunting and some hobbies in those things, and we're doing a lot of things with family, right? We're busy. One of those pieces of it that I still get that social interaction to me and feel like a part of a team, like I do at my work, but in my personal life, is sports,
Yeah.
right? I still play sports.
I need some more sports. My life.
It's great because sports are great for single sports too, like golf or tennis or
Yeah.
things like that. But I'm speaking of it specifically for the team aspect, the camaraderie, and there's good benefits to that socially. That again, right? Number one, I'm knocking off the physical piece that we mentioned. I'm knocking off the mental piece
Yep.
because yes, the physical piece also helps with the mental piece, but I'm also getting some of the mental relief from just going out and doing something, not mindless, but something different than what I normally do. But I'm also getting that social piece, and it's helping the mental piece,
Yeah.
right? I love soccer. Soccer,
The
again,
competitiveness. I mean,
yeah,
everything.
I mean, just trying to fight for something and being competitive, right? When it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
It's not life or death.
But it's still fun.
It's still fun, and you're trying to win. And to me, I mentioned like I like to run. I like cardio. Soccer is probably from a cardio aspect
sure.
specifically, probably the most bearing from a cardio perspective because you're constantly running. It's nonstop. And I love soccer. I'm a fan of soccer. I enjoy playing. I used to play it, and I'm playing with kids that used to play in college, used to play in high school. Where it's an adult competitive league. I play in both an all men's league and a co-ed league. So I'm playing with my boys, from the University of Dayton. Some of my buddies who played in high school, they're really good. I'm also playing with new people that, sometimes we need subs and someone's got a friend, someone's got a girlfriend, a fiance, a wife, a husband, or whatever. And they're coming in. I meet new people. And it's almost like the game is new every time because, sometimes we have that core group there, but I'm also meeting new people and playing with new people and learning how to, work with them,
Yeah.
to
Of course.
connect on the field in terms of, having that fluidity. All that stuff to me is super powerful for the other, health pieces that we mentioned. That's the way I find it.
Which, I mean, I think is why you've seen this huge eruption in the game of, what is it? It's not
Pickleball?
pickleball, right? I
Pickleball.
mean, you have more people. I think the average age of that sport is like 60, probably.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That they can still do as they age, and this is like a newer sport. What, in the last 5 years, probably?
I know my mom is down in Florida now, and
She's super into it?
Oh, she loves it.
Yeah.
I mean, she was a big tennis player too, right?
Yeah.
It's similar. It's not the same, but it's similar. It's
Sure.
almost like mini tennis or big ping pong in a way. But
It's giving these retirees though
social interaction.
social interaction, competitiveness, exercise. I mean, all those things that we know are important, but sometimes are hard to find, right?
Mhm.
Especially life after work and into retirement. and as you
Finding
continue to
something,
age. Finding
right.
something you can do and have fun with.
Because that is, to kind of conclude all of this, right? When we're talking about a lot of the people that we work with, which are retirees, we've mentioned this many times too, about how one of the struggles is to figure out what you're going to be, when you retire, what you're going to do when you retire. And they can be hurt by all three, right? The physical, the mental, or the social, right?
Yep.
All three of those things could be hurt. Depending on what you did for work, you're probably going to lose one of those, or you're going to feel some of that stress from one of those.
100%.
You're going to lose the social, or you're going to maybe lose maybe the work that you did was benefiting you mentally because you liked it, you were passionate about it. So now you don't have that. Maybe it was more physical work and you were active and doing things out on the job and now you're not. You're going to lose one of those in some way. So how do you fill that? And finding that, which again is identifying which one of that is, I think is the first step of how you can really improve it. There's a lot of great things in this world. There's a lot of great
So
things.
many great
There's so
things.
much positivity still out there.
Yeah.
I know we love to talk about the big red letters, fear and it's going down, all these things, right? Because that's what
engages people.
What engages people. But there's a lot of green and positivity out there too, and there's a lot of things that can help you get to that point too. And some of the things we just mentioned, right? It
Yeah,
doesn't have
I
to be
mean,
all
I
of them.
think for most people, when it comes to a lot of these things we're talking about, the hardest thing is just getting there and showing up, right? I mean, trying to establish a pattern. I don't remember exactly how long it takes to establish a habit. I think it's like 8 weeks of consistently doing something, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start, if you're going to try doing physical activity or working out, I mean, start walking on a treadmill,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You have to walk before you can run. I mean, you're not going to just go on that treadmill and run 5 miles your first time. You're just not.
No.
So you have to be willing to put forth the mental effort to do the physical effort.
Yeah.
Because it's a mental game.
It's all connected.
Everything in life is a mental game.
It is. It is. And, some of those, discipline, motivation, ambition, all that stuff is important too. But at the end of the day, it's do you want to improve one of those
Exactly.
personal health areas
Yeah.
that we're talking about? Do you want to? And then are you honest with yourself enough to be able to identify it and then address it?
Yeah.
Right. Those are some,
Which can be hard for
some. I think that might be the hardest piece of
a
it.
hard reality check.
But hopefully through this conversation, some of the stuff that we do, right? I mean, obviously we have a lot of hobbies and stuff that we didn't talk about here that still improve those areas. But hopefully, if you're listening to this and you're struggling with one of those areas, again, I think the concluding point is that you can find it.
For sure.
And utilize. It's not that maybe some of the stuff that we talked about would relate to you and things that you care about, but taking that idea and our passion of those subjects, those items, examples, and applying it to you, I think could be something that could be really impactful. And I think your life will be better.
Yeah.
And it'll improve your lifestyle, and you'll be happier, and
It will.
that can improve a lot of things in life. So, always appreciate it, Alex. Nice seeing
Always
you.
appreciate it, and this was great.
Welcome
love
to
the
the
studio. Love the camera and the work Ryan's done. So
What better than to start the studio by talking about great life, right?
yeah,
We got a great one. So
Positivity, health, all that stuff.
all good.
Thanks.
Thanks again, guys. Talk to you soon.